Now, I want to bring back on the Online Safety Act that we were talking about on Wednesday's programme. If you remember, the government had announced that part of the legislation came into force on Wednesday, and that was the issue of false communications. So a person commits the false communications offence if they send a message conveying information that they know to be false, and at the same time of sending it, they intend the message to cause non-trivial psychological or physical harm to a likely audience, i.e. someone who could reasonably be foreseen to encounter the message or its content, and they have no reasonable excuse for sending the message. The question is, who does this apply to? And if you remember on Wednesday, I was asking, did it apply to this man? That, of course, is Boris Johnson. And he was certainly pushing out a message a couple of years ago, which people were viewing and certainly had psychological harm and in some cases a physical harm as well. And of course, we were aware that he intended to do that because we made the point that Spy B had pushed this out, that the need to use the media to increase the sense of personal threat. So they're clearly going for a psychological effect there. But the next question then is, and we didn't cover this on Wednesday, would this organisation be in breach of such the breach of the law in this case, because they certainly contributed to the psychological harm that was done during lockdown and so on. Well, in fact, there's an exemption. So let's have a look at that. Section 180 sets out an exemption for the false communications offence, including an exemption for recognised news publishers and exemptions for holders of broadcast or multiplex licences and providers of an on-demand programming service. This section also provides that the offence cannot be committed in connection with the showing of a film made for cinema to members of the public. So we've got to make sure that we understand that if we're pushing out fake news, false information, and we are of the scale of the BBC, no problem there. You get away with that without any difficulties. But if you're a guy with 10 Twitter followers, or ex-followers as it's known these days, you could be in prison for 51 months or so. That's the fairness of the legislation as it stands. There you go. You can take that as it should be. Now, Debbie, a couple of finalies here. Just tell us about this one.
Well, it's a spot the difference. So the first slide that you're going to see is President Biden in his Situation Room. Now, have a quick look. We'll come back to it in a minute, but see if you can spot anything unusual. So let's go to the next slide of another Situation Room. This time, I think we're going to see President Trump in his Situation Room. So check out the table. Done that? Let's skip on to the next one. There you go. You've got President Obama and you've got his Situation Room. Check out the table. So has anybody noticed anything yet?
Keep going.
Let's go back to the President Biden's Situation Room. And what can we notice? Is anybody noticing anything now?
Well, yes, because we know the answers, but you better tell us.
Well, you might like to look at the next. Oh, go on, Ben.
The place names have been put the wrong way around when they're for Biden's benefit because he doesn't know anyone is. Is that it?
That is it.
Correct.
Right. Okay. That's so. I thought that is quite funny. Now, I just want to leave everybody with one final piece of news, government news. There's a bill has gone into Parliament. It's It's a private member's bill, so it's not going to achieve anything. But nonetheless, it's worth mentioning anyway. It's been put forward by Tanya Antonazzi, who's from Labour, and the bill is entitled the Police Declaration Bill. And the long title is A Bill to Require Police Officers and Certain Employees of Police Forces to Declare a Membership of or Affiliation to certain types of society and organisation, to require such declarations to be accompanied by a statement relating to that membership and for connected purposes. I think this is a very worthwhile bill. Perhaps even though it is a private member's bill and won't have government support, it probably won't achieve anything. But maybe people might want to write to their MPs and encourage support for that bill. I think that's very worthwhile. We can discuss a little bit more about that in a couple of minutes. So I'm going to say thank you very much to Ben and Debbie and to James Roguski for joining us today. We will be back for some extra shortly. if you're a UK Column member. Otherwise, we'll see you as usual, 1 p.m. on Monday. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.